Hey, everybody knows that difference sells. There's not a buyer of insurance on the planet that wants the same already again, unless you're going to give them the same thing for a much cheaper price. And in a situation like that, you know what's going to happen. The incumbent is going to step in and go, oh, I didn't know you want that. Find a way to go back to the underwriter, beat up the underwriter, twist their arms, and come back in and match your deal. So people want different. And different comes in a lot of things. In the insurance business, difference is really in three categories: price, coverage, or service. And price and coverage is controlled specifically by the insurance carrier. They control price, they control coverage. The thing you control is service. And so when you have a service platform that is, it's like taking a big old mound of concrete and clay and all this sort of stuff, and then starting to take that stuff and break it down and package it up in little bricks. And each brick has its own name. And you start to create these bricks, each with their own name and has its own identity. But when you can break your services down like that, then you've got the chance to really differentiate yourself in a very powerful way. Now, why is it important to differentiate yourself? Because when you can't, when you don't, when you rely purely on relationship, you rely on price or coverage, then it's just too easy for the incumbent who's sitting in the chair to come back in and match it. When you do have great differences, you can leverage that in a positive way, an easy way, to lead the buyer through and have the buyer discover what they could be having and how by working with you is remarkably different. And when that all happens, your closing ratio can soar 60, 65, 70, 80%. Now, the difference between closing 20 or 30% of the time and closing 60 to 80% of the time is the difference between having a good life and being a multimillionaire. And the power of multimillionaireism is not about ego, so you can say, well, I'm a multimillionaire. It's about having freedom of choice. It's about being able to go on great vacations. It's about being able to send your kids to private school if you want to. It's about putting them into a decent car rather than a rent-a-wreck. It's about having a classy wedding that doesn't break you to be able to pull it off and do it. It's about when you get to the time of retirement and then you move into the next decade, maybe you're in like the 80s. It's about still having money to be able to go do things and you're not stuck being a burden on everybody else. Now, a lot of times when I talk to people about what it's going to be like to be 80, you kind of blow me off, and I don't blame you. I mean, I get that. But I'm going to ask you to start to think about your grandparents or maybe your great-grandparents. Look at them. If they've got a lot of money, they got a lot of freedom. If they don't have a lot of money, man, you see them kind of clench up on what they eat, what they wear, how they're being taken care of. And you don't want to be a burden on your family. So when you tie all this stuff together, great differences means higher closing ratios, which means more money, which means you save more money, which means you put yourself on the path to financial freedom so that both now and then and deep into the future, you're in control, something else is not in control of you. So if that's what you want for your life, you think, well, really, you're going to cover all that in the Wedge Workshop? Yeah, that and a lot more. And that's why you need to be there, because you position yourself for not just now, but deep into the future. It starts now. So go ahead and get your ticket.